presentation of Fox Sports.
We are sports. We are Sun.
Yankee phenom Gary Sanchez struck again last night, blasting a 3-run shot in the 7th, propelling New York to a 5-3 win. Tonight, it's a marquee pitching matchup. Alex Cobb goes to the hill for the Rays versus Yankees ace Masahiro Tanaka. The final homestand of the year for the Rays continues. Tonight, game 2 of the series between the Rays and the New York Yankees. New York taking the first game of the series last night, 5-3. Hi again, everybody, and welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. What a pitching matchup we have tonight. Alex Cobb last time out got his first win in, what was it, 722 days. And Masahiro Tanaka, the last time he faced the Rays, well, he extended his record against them to 5-0.
This is a marquee matchup. There's no question about it. And for Alex Cobb, you go back to his last outing. And listen, I mean, this is just his 3rd start since coming back from the Tommy John surgery. And he was in complete control and extremely efficient. Gave up a hit to lead the game off. Didn't give up the 2nd hit until the 7th inning. The fastball command was very good. The curveball was a legitimate weapon as the changeup continues to progress, and you expect that pitch to get better and better. But Alex Cobb was fantastic. And will it end? Will it ever end? I mean, Masahiro Tanaka and his dominance of the Rays is otherworldly. 7 starts, the team record 7-0. Masahiro Tanaka 5-0. ERA 2.42. 48 and a 3rd innings, almost 7 innings to start. He's walked 2 Rays. 2 Rays, in fact, this year, the strikeout to walk ratio in 4 starts, 29-1.
Well, the Rays with Alex Cobb back off the DL, coming back from Tommy John, have gone into the 6-man rotation. Todd Callis has more on the 6-man rotation in a moment.
Cobb getting ready for his start tonight as the Rays and the Yankees play a little Wednesday night baseball, second game of a 3-game series. When Cobb was coming back from Tommy John surgery, the question was, how would you fit him into the rotation? There was already 5 guys locked in. The answer was they would go to a 6-man rotation. So beginning September 2nd against the Toronto Blue Jays, when Alex Cobb started, it began a cycle of 5 straight rotations of a 6-man rotation. Here you see what the guys have done since September 2nd with the extra day off in between starts. For pitching coach Jim Hickey, he talks about how it was a big benefit for not only tonight's starter, but a guy who's not even in the Rays rotation.
It is a little bit unique, but the only 2 that we're really trying to find work for is Whitley and maybe Cobb. And I think that Cobb is penciled in enough times where he's going to get a good feel for where he is, and he'll be very comfortable going into next season, you know, with a full season of, you know, off season of rest underneath him too. That's one of these things that goes overlooked, I think, with the Tommy John rehabilitators. These guys have been pounding away on their shoulders, doing exercises after exercises for months, for a year, and this off season is going to be the first break that those guys have really had in probably 15 months.
So 2 more cycles of the 6-man rotation. Hey, today's a Web Wednesday, which means you can ask the announcers questions via Twitter at Fox Sports Rays with the hashtag AskRays, or email them at foxsportsun@gmail.com. Ready for baseball on a Wednesday night. Dwayne NBA will have all the action of Rays baseball right around the corner. Alex Cobb and Masahiro Tanaka should be a fun night on Fox Sports Sun in 3 minutes until the first pitch. Enjoy all the action next.
Home against the New York Yankees. The Wednesday showdown brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Alex Cobb will head to the hill against New York tonight, looking for his 2nd win of the year. This is 4th start. And here is the New York starting lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Brett Gardner in there in left field. Jacoby Ellsbury in the lineup tonight in center, hitting second. Gary Sanchez, the catcher, will bat third with Brian McCann, the DH. Mark Teixeira at first. Didi Gregorius, the shortstop. Hitting seventh, playing third base, Ronald Torreyes. Mason Williams is in right. Donovan Solano will hit ninth, and he will play second base.
Well, Alex Cobb making his fourth start in the comeback, and you continue to see progress made. And you go back to that last start, he was dominant. Gave up 2 hits in 6+ innings, 6 2/3 to be exact. But it was that curveball that really started to flash. The changeup, the split change getting better and better. The fastball command has been good, but that curveball went from a here it is strike pitch to a pitch that he could wipe some guys out with, and I think that's very encouraging to both Alex and Jim Hickey.
Well, here's Gardner stepping in, batting .257. First pitch from Alex Cobb is a strike call. So we are underway at 11 minutes past the hour of 7. It's upstairs. Cobb pitched against the Yankees in his second start, coming off the DL. First one against the Blue Jays, then New York, then the Blue Jays, and now the Yankees again.
That's tough to do. I'll tell you, that is not ideal. You know, when you're in the middle of a season and throwing the ball well, that's not ideal, let alone coming back after all that time off and having to go against first 4 starts the same 2 teams.
Take a look at the numbers against the Yankees, and no decision. 6 innings, 4 runs, 3 earned. He made 89 pitches in that game. Was up to 93 in his last outing. Base hit into right. The Yankees put the leadoff hitter aboard. Well, Cobb, a great self-evaluator, monitoring himself through the first 3 starts, closer and closer to where he wants to be. But the great positive he's taken out of those first 3 starts, I thought his comments were great. He says, I've really learned that I can pitch, keep my team in the game when I don't have all my stuff.
Yep. There's no doubt, and as you continue wait for that split changeup to come back, it doesn't have the same finish and same movement on it as he's been accustomed to. But what he's been able to do is still use it as an effective changeup, but by locating the fastball, using both sides of the plate, and all of a sudden the emergence of that curveball as a true put-away pitch, he can, you know, continue to, with the 3 pitches, battle and like you said, keep his team in the game. That's the bottom line, is for a starting pitcher, pitch deep into the game, put your team, you know, in a position to pick up a win that night, and he does it as well as anybody.
Get as many outs as you can on as few pitches as you can throw.
Yeah, efficiency, and both of these guys here tonight, very good in that department.
Yeah, that's one of the real pluses of this matchup. Tanaka actually averaging under 15 pitches an inning, and Cobb just over 15 pitches per inning.
And again, you know, coming out of that surgery and the minor league rehab starts, to be that efficient 3 starts in, pretty incredible.
2-1. Gary Sanchez on deck. Keeping an eye on Gardner, who's 16 of 19 running. Now it's 3-1 to Ellsbury.
Well, you need a quality pitch here. You know, Ellsbury wants to swing the bat. He's got a favorable count. You're looking for something maybe moving down and away. A good sinker here. Try to get a ground ball.
Foul back. Count goes full.
Let's take a quick look at the Rays defense while we have a second. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. And in that outfield left and right, we have Corey Dickerson, Kevin Kiermaier, and Jeff Decker. Across the infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Alexi Ramirez, Logan Forsythe, and Brad Miller with Bobby Wilson behind the plate. Jeff Decker getting the call out here. They continue to rotate guys through right field. Steven Souza Jr. done for the season.
Runner goes. Ball 4 is inside. So Gardner's going to move up to second anyway on the walk to Ellsbury. First 2 men on for New York. Well, our Toyota inside look. Gary Sanchez, the catcher, the rookie catcher, about to step in. And 17 home runs and the fewest at bats. Well, Wally Berger took 150, Mark McGwire 162, and then comes Gary Sanchez 164.
Well, and he's had the small amount of time that he's been in the big leagues. He got off to that historic start. What do you have? 11 homers in like 20 games. I mean, it was absolutely insane. But then pitchers started to find some holes. They were able to capitalize, and things started to come back down to earth. Well, in the last 11 games, 6 home runs, and it's mistake pitches. He got a mistake last night. He hasn't missed it, and that's been the key to his success. When he has gotten his pitch, he's not fouled it off. He's not popped it up. He has driven it with authority, and a lot of them have left the yard.
Hot shot, that's foul. Skipping through the stands and back out again. Well, at all of those numbers, and we touched on it when we were in New York on that long road trip. Not a lot of games, not a lot of at-bats, unbelievable numbers. Rookie of the Year competition. He's right there for it.
Very much so.
I mean, when you look at some of the rookies in the American League, and you can make a case for Mazzara over in Texas, Naquin in Cleveland's had a good year up there, Fulmer in Detroit, the starting pitcher, and then suddenly here comes Sanchez. And as we discussed then, there is a precedent in Willie McCovey in 1959. So we'll see. I mean, McCovey had very comparable numbers and a limited number of at-bats.
Think about the timing. Think about Sanchez bursting on the scene as it looked like the Yankees were giving up the season, and all of a sudden there's a resurgence with this team. He puts up those kind of numbers. He's playing on the big stage in New York. Some of those other names you mentioned, very solid players, not very well known around the league. Everybody knows who Gary Sanchez is.
Yep.
He finishes strong. He takes home the hardware,
well,
I think.
Here's the deal. If you look at him, he has 162 at-bats right now. They have 12 games left. McCovey had 192 at-bats.
There you go.
So he's going to push that number with no problem. There's a strike. McCovey hit 13 home runs and had 38 runs batted in. He has 17 home runs right now and 33 runs batted in. And if you go to slugging percentage and on-base percentage, his slugging percentage is higher, on-base percentage not quite as high. So the number is very comparable with what Willie McCovey did, and he won the Rookie of the Year award in '59 in the National League. Base hit to center. That's going to chase home a run. Gardner scores. Sanchez picks up his 34th run batted in.
Well, and that's why, you know, he finishes strong. He gets to the 20 home run mark, and there's not a clear runaway. You know, that Naquin, Mazzaro, Fulmer, probably the best of the bunch. You know what he's done in Detroit pretty consistently all season long, but nobody's running away with anything, so it's there for the taking. And you know, it's things like this, a 2-strike hit up the middle when you're worried about the power to give his team a lead early on.
Brian McCann First pitch is a strike. Well, McCann in the lineup as the designated hitter, and against Alex he's 4 for 10 with a couple home runs in his career.
Those 2 home runs came in that start in New York. That was the night that everybody was hitting 2 home runs. Souza had 2, Kiermaier had 2, McCann had 2.
Ground ball, that's going to go through. Base hit into right. Here comes Ellsbury headed for the plate. Throw off the money. It'll be first and third in a 2-0 game. Ellsbury scores. Sanchez stops at third on the RBI single by Brian McCann.
Well, when Alex Cobb is going good, he is able to get the ground ball. And he has gotten 3 of them here in the first inning, and all 3 have found holes. A nice job by Brian McCann staying back on that, hitting it hard enough to get it by the dive of Forsythe. But you're talking about 2 ground balls to the right side, 1 up the middle. Combine that with a walk, early lead, and still more trouble to deal with.
And now it's Mark Teixeira. First pitch is a strike. Teixeira homered last night from the right side. Only his 2nd home run as a right-handed hitter. His 13th of the year. It's 1-1. Two balls and a strike. Popper on the left side, lone man over there. Evan Longoria takes care of that, and that's the first out.
Boy, you'll take that. You're in a bad count. Mark Teixeira up there, but you get him reaching. Wants to swing the bat. You take advantage of that. Able to pick up that first out. No advancement. And now you get another ground ball in the right place. You can get out of this inning.
Didi Gregorius, a .278 hitter. This pitch is a strike. One and one. Two balls and the strike, getting that back foot out of the way of the fastball. Cobb in the last outing against the Blue Jays gave up a run in the first on a hit and a walk and a sacrifice fly, and he has Gregorius out in front. There's the changeup.
And that's a great example of, you know, using that as a traditional changeup. But watch, there's not the finish. There's the split, and usually you're seeing that pitch bottom out right down close to the dirt, and that's reacting like more of a traditional straight change.
And a cut and a miss.
Well, just as we talked about the changeup not having that finish quite yet, we talked about the curveball being a weapon. And how about that right there? Boy, this is a snappy little curveball, and Didi Gregorius misses it by plenty.
So a pop out and a strikeout following the two-run scoring. There's Ronald Torreyes. And in with the Breaking ball there for a strike. Missed down, just a little bit low with the fastball. Reyes out of Venezuela. A little chopper headed toward the middle, out of the reach of Ramirez. Another run's going to score. Sanchez crosses the plate. McCann stops at second. So the ground balls finding their way through the infield here in the first.
Yeah, and these are the types of innings that'll drive you crazy. You continue to get the ground ball. They continue to find open areas. Just wondering what you're seeing and what has happened here. You know, the one walk didn't help, obviously, to Jacoby Ellsbury, but outside of that, you're getting ground ball after ground ball, and they're pulled in the hole, shot up the middle. Shouldn't even say shot up the middle, chopped up the middle.
Yep. Yeah, there aren't any screamers here, but they're finding holes through the infield. Up to 30 pitches. And after the conference on the hill, Jim Hickey disappears back into the dugout, and the hitter is Mason Williams. After that first pitch, look out, foul ball into and out of the stands. Oh, 2. Three-run first for New York. High chopper foul. Holds the count right there. That's a strike call on a fastball to retire the side. 8 men to the plate, 3 runs cross it. We go to the bottom of the first, 3-0 New York. 3-0 coming in to hit for the first time. Here is the lineup tonight, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Logan Forsythe to lead it off, then Kevin Kiermaier and Evan Longoria. Brad Miller, Corey Dickerson, and Alexi Ramirez hitting 6th. Jeff Decker in right field, the number 7 hitter, followed by Richie Schaefer, and then Bobby Wilson, the catcher.
Well, Masahiro Tanaka closing in on 200 innings, 193 2/3. That ERA under 3 at 2.97, and we've chronicled his success against the Rays. Going to have to hope for something different tonight and get to work early.
First pitch is too high, 1-0. Well, Tanaka doesn't waste much time, and he is always in and around that strike zone. There's a strike.
And he gives you a lot to think about. I mean, he can exploit that strike zone and exploit your swing with any number of different pitches. I mean, you name it, outside of a knuckleball, he throws it.
Ground ball. Gregorius in short. And Forsythe is the first out.
Let's take a look at the Yankee defense, see how it's going to line up. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. In the outfield, left to right, we have Brett Gardner, Jacoby Ellsbury, and Mason Williams. Across the infield, third to first, Ronald Torreyes, Didi Gregorius, Donovan Solano, and Mark Teixeira with Gary Sanchez behind the plate.
Kevin Kiermaier up here. He's 4 out of 8 against Tanaka. Well, you don't see many of those numbers against this guy. There's a home run among the 4 hits. One and one.
Those last 2 pitches, that's the adjustment Tanaka is able to make. A little backdoor slider for strike 1, and then how about this one here? That little splitter down and away, moving away from Kiermaier. Now he's going to come in.
And a soft liner going to be over the head of Gregorius. Big turn by Kiermaier, and he's aboard.
Here's the thing. When a guy has your number, he has your number, because Tanaka did everything right in that sequence. Ended up coming in, he got poor contact, but Kiermaier just enough to get it over the head of Gregorius, and now 5 out of 9.
Well, it's funny how the game works like that. Yeah, those 2 pitches back to back, he threw, one going one way, the next one going the other way. Same spot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's
enough
advanced.
of that. Yeah.
And then follow that up with something in. And he's still over there on first base.
Strike on the outside corner. Evan Longoria. I mean, this gives you an idea how tough he is. I mean, Forsythe and Longoria have had outstanding years. Forsythe now 1 for 15 against Tanaka. Longoria's 2 for 20 off him. It's 1-1 the count.
Well, then you say this is the game that it turns. These guys are due. And, you know, an early deficit, that'll get your attention. You got to try to force Tanaka up in the zone. He likes to work. He'll come up every now and then, but he likes to stay down at the bottom with everything. And he can do it in the bottom of that strike zone. He can get the cold strikes down there, and then you're forced to swing.
Starts to go, and did. Spare it down at first as Evan did not hold up.
Let's take a look. Right in that gray area.
Down to third. To Reyes to Solano over to first in time for the around the horn double play. 5-4-3 on that double play. With the first inning over, it's 3-0 New York. Against New York. Shirts off our backs has returned, making a donation to Rays Baseball Foundation. Will allow you to receive a scratch-off card in exchange. You can win tickets to a 2017 home game or a jersey right off a player's back. Every card's a winner. For more details, visit raysbaseball.com/shirts. Donovan Solano. First pitch is a ball. Second base tonight. He was at third in last night's game. Cobb behind him 2-0. Three balls, no strikes. Rays just got off the 11-game road trip. The Yankees are on one. 11 games, 12 days on their trip.
Did not start well.
Nope. Got a win last night, 1-4 on the trip. Base hit through the hole between short and third. Solano with a base hit.
Yeah, that's a different ground ball that found a hole. That was Solano in a 3-1 count, getting a pitch out over the plate. See it right here, plenty of plate, and that ball was hammered in the hole.
Fifth hit off Cobb already. Gave up just 2 hits in 6 2/3 on the road in Toronto in his last start. An 8-1 win in that one, and down early tonight, and again facing the top of the order. This is Brett Gardner. Ground ball out of the reach of Ramirez, through into center. Solano stops at second, and Gardner is 2 for 2.
Boy, it's games like this, starts like this, that they test your character.
I mean, how many ground balls have squeezed through? Now, Solano's, yeah, he hit his hard, but this ball just, you're that close to an attempt at a double play because it got out there pretty quickly, and instead, now it's first and second, nobody out.
Now, 5 of the 6 hits could be classified roughly in that category. Now, Jacoby Ellsbury. And that pitch called down. Fouls it out of play. Jumped on that one, fouling it up the right side. Somebody protect the refreshments down there in that area. She's got it under control. It's all right. A 1-1 count. There's the chopper. Play's going to have to be at first. High throw, and he got the foot back on the bag. Nice play by Miller there on that toss that sailed a bit high.
Well, that's because Alex Cobb did not have an angle. He's trying to throw over the runner, and watch the footwork from Brad Miller. He goes from left foot on the bag to foul territory, right foot on the bag. Boom, boom. That is fantastic footwork by Brad Miller.
That's a great shot of that play.
Oh, man.
Looking right down the line.
Yeah, and you also get a shot of Alex Cobb and how he had to try to make that throw. He had to go up with it. He couldn't go around the runner.
Now 2 men in scoring position. Sanchez is the hitter in the infield up. Look out. A hot shot down the third base side. He's starting to get some action up the right field line. Steve Geltz up.
That was by him before those feet got high enough. That's how hard that ball was hit.
Oh, a shot down the left field line. That one is fair and out of here. A 3-run home run. Sanchez hits his 18th home run. And the Yankees build a big lead early. Four runs batted in already tonight for Sanchez. 37 on the year.
It's the mistakes that he has not missed. Said it in the first at bat when he's gotten his pitched. He has driven it with authority, and a lot of them have left the yard. There's another one.
Solano and Gardner scoring in front of Sanchez on the blast to left. Ryan McCann fouls it out of the reach of Miller and foul up that right side. Up the middle and a base hit into center. So McCann is on. He's 2 for 2. Well, the thing building now here for New York. Gorey is spending some time on the mound. Geltz continues to throw in the bullpen. Cobb touched for 6 runs, 8 hits. Down to first, foul. Teixeira popped out his first time. Well, Teixeira's home run last night tied him with Duke Snider for 54th on the all-time home run list. He has 407 home runs now. Roller foul. A ball, 2 strikes. Close there, 2-2. So at over 50 pitches. 1 out into the second. Liner into right. That will drop in front of Decker and bounces over his head. McCann will go to third. They're going to stop him there. A big turn at second by Teixeira, and now he gets back into the bag there.
Well, that ball out there getting over the head of Jeff Decker, and boy, it just goes from bad to worse. There it is. There's the shot. There's Decker up over the glove, and then not a ton of urgency in going after it.
And that's going to be it for Cobb. The line drive by Teixeira, a base hit and an error. Charge to Decker with McCann stopping at third. Alex Cobb departs. Had anticipated with an abbreviated appearance by Alex Cobb, and now Steve Geltz will make his 26th appearance.
You're just trying to stem the tide now. Nothing going right for the Rays here in the early going, and you know that guy right there, how accountable he is, and you talked about his self-evaluation, just one of those nightmare outings. 4th start after coming back from Tommy John and missing so much time.
So here's Gregorius. He's swinging on the first pitch. Dickerson makes the catch and left. The tag. McCann heads to the plate and he scores. Holding at second is Teixeira. And the Yankees have another run. It's 7-0. That run charged to Cobb. 2 outs in the inning now. Well, they're going to change the base hit and an error ruling. Teixeira's going to get a double. So there's no error charged. Still at second after the fly ball to left by Gregorius. Here's Torreyes. And a cut and a miss. Yankees sent 8 men to the plate in the first inning. They scored 3 times. Torreyes, the 8th hitter to come to the plate. In the second, they've scored 4 times in this inning. This one is lifted into center. Kiermaier is there and makes the catch. So the inning is over, but a 3-run first and a 4-run second. 7-0 New York. Sports Sun brought to you by Ram Trucks. Guts Glory Ram. By Furman, the Bay Area's first name in Chevrolet. By Bank of America. Life's better when we're connected. And by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. Brad Miller leading off the home half of the second. Takes a strike from Tanaka. Masahiro Tanaka gave up a hit through a double play ball in the first. High fly ball, center field, sending Ellsbury to the track, and in front of the wall, he makes the catch. Pretty good shot off the bat of Miller, but just short to straightaway center. So with 1 out and the bases empty, let's check in with Todd Callis. Todd?
All right, Dwayne, our first question on our Web Wednesday Ask the Announcers is about the bullpen. We're going to see the bullpen extensively tonight. Rock and others via email have asked about how in the past, with relatively the same budget, the Rays have been able to put together a really good bullpen. This year, it's been a more inconsistent pen with 15 losses after the 6th inning with a lead. Can things turn around as quickly as next year with a good offseason of acquisitions, guys?
Yeah, and a good offseason is going to be key to trying to do what they've done, as you point out so often in the past, is rebuild a bullpen. In fact, it's pretty amazing the job they've done here through the years to rebuild a bullpen.
Think about the guys at the end of ball games. Yeah, how many different pitchers have led this team in saves the last 10 years? I mean, it's seemingly a new guy every year. Last year, Brad Boxberger leads the way with 41 saves, leads the American League. This year, Brad goes down in spring training. Colomé steps in. I mean, seamless transition. But I'll say this, in building a bullpen, as quickly as a bullpen can go south, a bullpen can be rebuilt and be great again. It's one of the most fickle parts of a baseball team. is a bullpen with all of those guys down there performing in unison, in sync, 3 or 4 guys a night getting key outs to lead a team to win. A lot of things have to go right, but they can, that can turn around quickly.
Well, the one good thing about it is you've got Colomé down there, who has emerged this year, really out there, has taken to that job as the closer. He couldn't have done a better job than he has this year. There's a comfort level that he has out there, and as low-key a guy as he is, you see him out there at the end of a game, he's pretty fierce.
Yeah, and he wants the ball.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that ever wants a day off. I mean, he wants the ball each and every opportunity whenever the team needs him. And you're right, when the bell rings and he's in the middle of that field, he is quite the competitor.
Three and one. So that's a good place to start when you're looking at current candidates to fill out the bullpen, as opposed to looking for a closer. You start there and work your way back. Ramirez draws the walk, something you don't see all that often with Tanaka out there. 2-out walk at that.
And against the Rays, that's the 3rd walk against the Rays in his career. 3rd walk. I mean, 2nd walk this season. He came in with 1 walk, 29 strikeouts, and 28 1/3 innings.
And here's Decker.
We may have to do one of those pitch sequences just to prove that was true.
Those are pretty astounding numbers.
It really is.
When you think about that. 5-0, 7 starts. He'd walk 2.
Yeah, 2.
0-2. Well, the Rays still looking for their first run off him here at the Trop. Ball 2 strikes. Coming into this 2-0 against the Rays here at Tropicana Field, and not allowing a run over 14 innings coming into this start. One that skips away. Ramirez will head to second, make a turn there. And Sanchez had to do a little digging to come up with that ball. So the wild pitch, and the Rays have a man in scoring position.
That split ends up in front of the plate off the wrist, the throwing hand. And that's what causes it to jettison out behind the bench. Get the stool out of there.
And this one all the way to the backstop, and it's lodged back there. Over to third goes Ramirez.
Well, with a runner on second base, you're going to switch up your signs. And somebody did not get the memo. Ramirez out there. This fastball doesn't look at all what Gary Sanchez is looking for. He doesn't even get the glove up there.
And look, it lodges right at the base of that panel behind the plate.
I don't think Gary Sanchez quite knew where it was.
And now he misses again. Boy, that's 3 big misses right there.
Yeah, I mean, you just do not see that from Tanaka. The Rays have it.
Well, here, back-to-back walks after all that time. So stingy with walks. Now with 2 outs.
He just walked as many hitters in the last 3 or 4 minutes than he's walked in the last couple of years against this team.
Yep.
How about that? Epic comeback.
Here's Richie Schaefer. 1 ball, no strikes. One. There's a strike. It's now 1-2. Ramirez third, Decker at first, and a wave and a miss by Schaefer. He is out on strikes. 2 men left for the Rays. On to the 3rd inning we go. 7-0 New York. With MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, you can watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Mason Williams leads it off here in the 3rd. Steve Geltz. This is with the pitch upstairs, 1-0. One and one. Williams had a hit last night A single and a run scored in their 4-run 7th. Chops it to the right side for Forsythe, and the toss to Miller is in time, 1 away. So that's a step in the right direction. Leadoff man retired. Donovan Solano.
The last time, Dwayne, that the Rays found themselves in a hole like this to the Yankees in this building, we all remember how that ended.
Yes. So anything could happen.
That's right. Got a lot of baseball left.
Want to know the count to Solano. Foul back. The fact that the Rays have done it tells you that it's not impossible. The fact that they've done it once, you have to ask, what are the odds that it could happen again?
Well,
so if it happened once, it could happen again.
It was a few years ago.
Yeah.
So you come back around. I mean, one of the big players in that game that had a lot to do with that comeback.
Yep.
He's still here.
Yeah.
And down to third.
We still have that low wall down there.
That's right. And it's even named now.
Yeah.
Got it named. And there you go.
162 landing.
It could end the same way. Wouldn't that be something? But
2-2. I'm going to tell you what, if it happens.
Yep.
I'm not saying it will or won't, but you know, we didn't know at this point back then either.
No.
But if it does, and I could save $100, I'm going to give it to you to invest.
I'm going to run the bases.
Swing and a miss. Solano is out on strikes. Well, hey, let's go back just for fun.
Well, here it is. I mean, that was the winner. They were down 7-0. What, into the 7th?
Yeah, what a day that was for baseball all around both leagues. The timing of all of that, you could not have written a better script. And Evan delivered with that home run down the left field line. That's a strike call to Brett Gardner. Gardner 2 for 2 with a couple of runs batted in. One and one. Fly ball lifted into center field. Kiermaier's there waiting, and it's a 1-2-3 third. We're through 2.5 with the score 7-0 New York. Of the third, New York leading. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Tanaka topping the American League in ERA. In fact, the only starter under 3 this year, coming in at 297 ahead of the White Sox lefty Chris Sale. And here's Bobby Wilson. He sends a high fly ball into left. That ball is going to carry out of here. That ball got over the yellow line into and back onto the field. Out of the seats it came. And Bobby Wilson has hit his 7th home run of the year. And the Rays are on the board.
But you got to start somewhere. Bobby Wilson in the 9-hole, especially after the way that Tanaka finished out the 2nd inning.
That was strange.
Yeah, the command really wasn't there. Lost it for a couple of hitters and misses badly with this pitch. We said he works down in the zone most of the time, up when he wants to. Did not want to be up there, and Wilson makes him pay.
How about that?
First row.
Rays on the board.
Must be in the first row.
Logan Forsythe.
You can't say front row in the outfield. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound right, but certainly the first.
Yep. Play 0-2. And a game that we referenced when the Rays were down 7-0. That 8th inning was a big inning all of a sudden. 6 runs in that inning.
Yep. I think didn't Evan have he had a 3-run homer in that inning.
Yep.
And then it was yeah.
Johnson tied it
again.
Yep. In the 9th. And Evan with the home run of the 12th.
But what I mean, you had the extra innings in this game. Then you had that the rain delay in the Orioles and Red Sox game.
Yep.
And and all of the meaningful games ended up ending within a 3, 4, 5 minute span, something crazy like that.
Yep.
What a night. You may never see another night, a meaningful night like that, ever again.
That's strike 3 called on Forsythe. Well, what are we now? We're just this is. I think we're just a week. That was on the 28th. The Rays got the wild card, so we're just a week away from what, the 5th anniversary of that.
The 5th.
Yeah, it would be a week from today, the 5th anniversary of that game.
Where does the time go?
I know.
Come on, 5 years?
Yep. Kiermaier taking that first pitch down and in, a breaking ball. That's a strike. It's 1-1. One and two. You know, interesting thing. We're just talking potential comebacks. Oh, comebacker to the mound right there. Tanaka with a toss to first. And so Kiermaier's the second out. Dylan Betances started that game for the Yankees. So if it got to that situation here, we might see him late.
That would get really weird.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Let's see.
Sit back and enjoy.
Yep.
That's what I'm going to do.
Well, here's Evan. Pitch is a strike. Evan with 35 home runs. 0-2. Evan finished that year 2011 with 31 home runs and just missed 100 RBIs. He had 99. Oh, that's off his foot. Right now, Evan with 35 home runs and 94 runs batted in.
That may have gotten him a little bit higher. That ball was running in, and Evan hammers this.
Oh yeah.
Yep. You know, all that padding that he has down that chin and foot, and he still managed to miss it.
Ball, 2 strikes. So Evan with his biggest home run season this year. He had 32 in 2013, 31 in 2011, 33 in 09, and 35 this year. A 2-2 count. Is it foul? You know, Bobby Wilson hitting this home run to open this inning. We've talked about how Forsythe has struggled against Tanaka and Longoria. Bobby Wilson has 2 hits in 4 at-bats off Tanaka. Both home runs. Fly ball into left. That'll send Gardner to the track, and that ball gets out. Home run for Evan Longoria. That's his 36th. So the Rays hit a couple home runs, cutting into this deficit. 95 runs batted in now for Evan on home run number 36.
Got to strike 2 with the split below the zone, and many times when he has retired Longoria, it has been the split down. This right here, a little bit of a slider, and it's down. Evan's looking down. That's not exactly a pitch you expect to be hit out of the ballpark, but when you're looking for it and you've got that kind of coverage and you're as strong as number 3 is, you lift it just enough and see you later.
Now Miller takes a big cut, fouls a fastball back for a strike. Hey, it's only the 3rd.
This is one of those games where you really say to yourself, what do we have to lose? In everybody's mind, this game's already been decided. So let's go out there and give them, you know, a little something to eat.
Chew on.
Right.
Upstairs. A ball, 2 strikes. Brad Miller with 28 home runs. There's a shot high, deep to right. Williams back, and this ball is gone. Home run. Brad Miller, and the Rays have hit 3 solo home runs here in the 3rd. And now it's 7-3. His 29th home run of the year. Comes on a 1-2 pitch.
Well, another slider there that just kind of acted more like a cutter, a hanging cutter. Just kind of spin.
Check the railing. Oh. Oh. Now here's Dickerson, he shoots one deep to center. Ellsbury's going to run out of room, and that baby's gone. Rays have hit 4 home runs in the third off Tanaka. 3 in a row. Dickerson goes out to center, and it's 7-4. What a display here against Tanaka.
How does that taste? Huh? I mean, come on.
Wow.
I mean, well, listen, you go back to the second inning and the way that it ended with the back-to-back walks, and he did pick up a strikeout, but that was a back-to-back walks, a couple of wild pitches. You know, the command has not been there. The finish on the pitches, down and out over the plate. Corey Dickerson likes to get the arms extended, likes the ball in that area, and he's a strong man too. And the big boys are flexing their muscles here in the third, and you got a ball game now.
Bobby Wilson's home run on the first pitch of the inning started this. 2 outs later, Evan Longoria hit a slider out to left. Brad Miller hit one out to right, and Corey Dickerson hits one out to center. Here's Alexei Ramirez. The pitch is a strike. Tanaka gave up 3 home runs to Kansas City back on May the 10th in 7 innings. The Rays have 4 home runs off him in this third inning in the span of 6 hitters. That's a chopper foul outside of third. Count is still 2 strikes. In a span of 22 pitches, the Rays hit 4 home runs. That's outside. 1-2. So this, the highest home run total in a single game allowed by Tanaka. And this coming in 1 inning. 4 times in his career he has given up as many as 3 home runs in a game. 4 in 1 inning tonight. Two and two. Center field, that's going to hang up and will be caught by Ellsbury. But the Rays hit 4. Bobby Wilson hit the first one. Evan Longoria hit the second one. Brad Miller hit number 3, and Corey Dickerson hits the 4th. It's 7-4 as we go to the 4th inning. Barrage of 4 home runs, a club record 4 home runs in an inning. 15 times they had hit as many as 3, and a club record 4 in the bottom of the 3rd tonight. Left-hander Justin Marks takes over now, the third Rays pitcher. First pitch to Ellsbury is a strike.
Well, now you piece it together. You start playing the matchup game. You've got a team that got out to a lead that with the guy that's on the mound in Tanaka, you feel like this game is over. That's what I'm sure most people thought. Now reeling just a little bit. That was quite the output there by the Rays in the 3rd. But you need some zeros from that pen now.
So it's Ellsbury, Sanchez, and McCann due up against Justin Marks. Ooh, that's a strike. Strike 3 called on Ellsbury.
And Ellsbury didn't like it. I'm not sure upset with the call or with himself, but that was absolutely perfectly placed by Marks. Down and in, drive it. See Ellsbury starting to lean out over the plate, and now he's got to almost do that little attempt, get out of the way, and see ya.
A strike to Sanchez. Fly ball, center field. Kiermaier's right there for it. He'll make the catch on this one. So a couple quick outs here in the 4th inning from Marks. Now Brian McCann. And he just misses on that first pitch there. Just a little off the corner. And there's a check swing. Left side open up the left field line. McCann has a base hit. Dickerson gets over there to make the pickup. Well, with the shift on and that check swing, there was nobody to defend that one.
Now those are annoying too. You've got the whole left side open, everything over here. There's your closest defender. Oops.
And that gives McCann a 3-for-3 night.
It's very similar to the same way that Willie Mays Hayes started off the season back in '89, I believe.
Pitch is a strike. Mark Teixeira. Yeah, but he had better speed.
But he got picked off, I think. Or he got thrown out.
Foul ball back, 0-2.
He got hot at the end of the year, though.
The right time.
Yep.
It's a ball and 2 strikes. Tap down to 3rd. Longoria will take the throw to 1st to get Teixeira there. No runs, a hit, 1 left. Bottom of the 4th, Rays down by 3. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Most home runs in the final season of a major league career.
The question mark was for Dave Kingman. Black and white. You know, I mean black and white.
Yep, Decker grounds out. So that's the first out here in the bottom of the fourth. Richie Schaefer coming up now. 3-run ball game. Schaefer struck out his first time.
By the way, that greater coverage graphic.
Yes.
We didn't really get into that at all.
No, we'll have to revisit it. So we'll try that.
Little malfunction up here in the booth.
Yeah, well, just
you got wires everywhere.
Things got really quiet all of a sudden.
And that's not normal for up here.
No, no. The high pop up. That's a foul ball coming back. Going to be out of play. And it's a 2-strike count. Tell you what, you take care of this. Talk all you want about that, and I'm going to see if I can get an earpiece that works.
Well, you know, but the biggest question here, look at David Ortiz, what he is doing. And by the way, still with a week and a half of baseball left. 36 home runs, driven, I believe, 118 coming into play today. And his standing with, look at McGuire, Bonds, Ted Williams, and then, of course, Dave Kingman in black and white. Old school Dave Kingman.
And Schaefer strikes out. 2 gone.
He back?
Yeah, but it's a little shaky.
Still a little shaky.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If you could untangle all these wires, they could maybe then figure it out.
So 2 up, 2 down, and here's Bobby Wilson. 1-0. All of a sudden, one of those gremlins just crawled into all of this technical stuff that we have surrounding us. Bobby fouls this one back.
Yeah, because to the layman, if they had a shot of this, they'd wonder if you were on the air doing a major league broadcast, or they were trying to keep you alive with all the wires you have.
A lot of wires.
A lot of wires.
Out of your ears and all kinds of places. You know, Bobby Wilson homered back on the 10th of September at Yankee Stadium off Tanaka. And then he hit the first pitch he saw tonight. So he saw 2 pitches in a row and hit home runs off them. Count still, a ball, 2 strikes. Rays with a 4-home run 3rd inning to get right back into this game after trailing 7-0. It's now 7-4. That one is outside. So at least tonight in this single game, the Rays, as opposed to almost 5 years ago in 2011, they started a little earlier in this one. Didn't wait till the 8th.
Yeah, which much better idea and plan. Maybe not as dramatic, but still.
Yeah, there's one that skips by Sanchez. And here's the home run that started that 4-run barrage of 4 home runs in the 3rd.
So used to seeing Tanaka working down into zone, and instead leaves that ball up in a way where Bobby can get his arms extended.
And a base hit the other way. So he is 3 for 3 in his last 3 plate appearances against Tanaka.
And a great job here. You know, smart baseball, good hitting by Bobby Wilson. You go from a home run to left center, ball down and away, stay right down and through it. That body, look at him. Keep that front side in, that head down. He's got some room to work with over there. Line it out to right field for a 2-out hit. Continue to force Tanaka to have to work.
Well, here is Logan Forsythe. He goes after the first one and pops it into shallow right. Williams coming in is there to make the catch. And the Rays are finished in the fourth. No runs ahead with the man left. 7-4 as we go to the fifth. Back into the fifth inning here now with the Rays trailing by only 3. Boy, I need a little coffee after all of that. You know, we were throwing these things around, all kinds of stuff.
There's lots of
yeah, look at all of this stuff here. But we can hear now, so everything for the moment is good. So, you know, hey, by the way, these were a present from Todd Callis. He's so thoughtful.
Well, you know what? It's a thoughtful gift. There's no question about it. But it's also kind of taken a shot at our, I want to say approach, but yeah, I guess you could say our approach. I mean, it's Waldorf and Statler.
Yeah. Well, hey, there's a little check swing, one hopper. Oh, barehanded by Ramirez, and he gets him in a nice play by the veteran shortstop Alexei Ramirez to get Gregorius.
Yeah, this ball softly hit. Look at Alexei just timing it up, getting his footwork ready to go, and then look at this bare hand, and he is in position to throw. That is just a tremendous feel for the position and the play that needs to be made. No wasted movement once he got to that baseball, and he couldn't afford any.
One gone. Justin Marks in relief. All those strikes. We saw Marks back on the 9th. It's been a long time since he's been out there.
Yeah.
You know, he pitched against the Yankees 3 innings. Scoreless baseball, no hits, but 5 walks in that one. And here is this ball hit down to third. Longoria throws out Torres. So nice job here, and he came right in the 4th inning, made some good pitches.
No, he did. I mean, you think about the strikeout pitch to Ellsbury, the first pitch curveball to Sanchez after that, and you know, you're going to come back in this game. You need some zeros, and Justin Marks has come in. He's been efficient. He's been good. He's kept the ball on the ground. Pop up softball in the air. And he's pounded the zone.
Yeah, there's a strike on the inside corner. It's a base hit into center. Kiermaier cutting over to make the pickup, and he'll hold Williams to 1 base. 2-out single here. Two-out single brings up Donovan Solano.
Oh, wow. I mean, you got to roll that. We got to roll that in again. That was a crazy knuckleball. Watch as it goes over the head. You see that out there with Laz Diaz. This ball's got some funk to it.
Take a look.
Yeah, stay on it.
Right here.
Little right to left to left.
A couple little moves there by Laz Diaz.
I want
evasive action.
I want that baseball in my backfield.
There he is. Umpiring second base tonight. 2-0 the count on Solano. Two outs with Williams at first. A lob toss over. Williams back in. And that's a called strike. Change speeds on him, and it's 2-2. '28-year-old left-hander Justin Marks. Foul right back. Originally in the Oakland organization. Up to the big leagues a couple years ago. Was in one game with Kansas City. And until joining the Rays here in September, that was his only major league exposure. Ground ball. Ramirez takes the throw to first. No runs, a hit, and a man left. We're headed into the bottom of the fifth. 7-4 New York.
Things off in the bottom half of the fifth inning with the Rays trailing 7-4. It is a Web Wednesday. Ask the Announcer Web Wednesday. And some questions, guys, about the lineup for 2017. And a lot of them revolve around Kevin Kiermaier. Fans are asking, as Kiermaier improves as a base runner, is he more of a leadoff type with possibly Logan Forsythe second? One fan, Joseph, on Twitter actually liked Matt Duffy second and Logan Moore in an RBI situation. But fans wondering, should KK stay in the number 2 spot or maybe be a leadoff hitter, guys.
All right, a chop to the right side. Solano's going to make this play. Well, I think it's worth a conversation. The downside of that is, look, you moved him from down in the lineup into the number 2 position. He's really made some progress there. He's expanded what he can do offensively there. More opportunity for him up there to utilize his skills. So I would think that at the outset, you know, the question this year was, how was Forsythe going to adjust to the leadoff spot? Well, he's adjusted quite nicely. And the Rays, it seems for the history of the franchise, have looked for a guy to lead off. It seems that they found one in Forsythe. And you go 1-2 with those guys right now, that's a pretty good start to any lineup, particularly with the way Longoria has swung the bat out of the 3rd spot. He's ahead in the count 2-0.
Well, we've seen a couple of other teams where all of a sudden the leadoff hitter has been moved down into the middle of the lineup because of the production. Altuve in Houston, Betts in Boston, and it's enticing to think, well, the Forsythe and the way that he's able, you know, he's a 20 home run guy. He's sitting at 19 right now, and should get to that number and maybe a few beyond that. Well, what if you move him down and then there's that spot open for Kiermaier? You know, it depends on what team you want to be. Because Logan's a good on-base guy, gives you good at-bats, battling at-bats, good 2-strike approach. He's a good fit for the leadoff spot. He doesn't have the speed or base stealing ability of Kevin Kiermaier. But it'll just depend on how they want to structure things and what type of team they want to be. But certainly, you know, you can talk about it all you want. But the reason that you are talking about it, which is encouraging, is the fact that Kiermaier in that 2-hole has been so good after moving, you know, from the bottom of the order.
Yep.
It begs it for the conversation, but you know, it'll depend on what type of team you want to be.
Well, you want the on-base percentage in the top of the order, and Kiermaier's on-base percentage has improved significantly up there. His on-base percentage coming into this game is .330. Forsythe is .350. This ball lifted into left. Gardner is there, 2 gone. So 2 outs with the bases empty in the 5th. But they're good thoughts, and you're right. It depends upon personnel and who you have next year on this club. And we don't know that yet. You figure you're going to have Miller and Forsythe, get Duffy and Longoria, Kiermaier. We'll see Souza coming back from the hip surgery. Dickerson's bat in the last half of this year seems to have adjusted a little bit to his environment, to a new league, new home venue. Strike to count to Miller. It's a high chop down to first. Teixeira takes care of it. 3 up, 3 down. We're heading into the 6th in a 7-4 ball game, New York. Yankees broke out in front early. Gary Sanchez with a base hit. Scored the first of 3 in the first. 3-run home run in the second, accounting for 3 of the 4 runs in that inning. Before the Rays came roaring back, Bobby Wilson opened the third with a homer. 2 outs later, it was Evan Longoria. Then Brad Miller, a shot to right, followed by Corey Dickerson and his home run to center field. A 4-home run third. That's catapulted the Rays into the 3rd spot in the American League in home runs with 209. They trail Baltimore and Toronto in home runs now. And here is Brett Gardner. Pops it up. That's a foul ball back out of play for a strike. Justin Marks on the hill for the Rays. When you look at his career in the minor leagues, command has been an issue, and when he has it, he's been good. And he's had more of it here, even though it's been a while since he's been out there on the mound. 1-1 here to Gardner.
Well, the Rays bullpen thus far giving them a chance. You know, after Alex Cobb comes out, Steve Geltz, Justin Marks here is throwing the ball very well, very efficient. But these are the types of performances that you're looking for in trying to make a move in this game where you were down 7-0 in the second.
And it's the kind of performances, if you're Justin Marks, he's been in 1 other major league game.
Yeah. You know, and here's the other thing that you have to realize. These opportunities, you're pitching for a spot on the team next year, trying to impress. You're pitching for all the other teams too.
Yep.
Because they're watching. You know, I mean, so if things don't work out here, maybe you end up with an opportunity elsewhere. But the point is these outings are big, not just for the team that you're currently on, but because you're showcasing yourself around the league and getting another opportunity. I'm sure that one outing in Kansas City a couple of years ago, it leaves a taste in your mouth. You want to get it again.
Mm-hmm. It's 3-2 with Gardner. Into right center. Decker moves over and makes the catch. It's the first out of the 6th. Well, Marks was 7-11 in 23 starts and a couple bullpen appearances at AAA Durham. Had a 9-inning no-hitter when he made 130 pitches, and boy, that's something that you don't see a lot these days.
No, I mean, not unless you're a salty vet going for a no-hitter or a perfect game.
Ellsbury takes the pitch up. 1 ball, no strikes. Pops it up left side for Longoria. 2 away. Marks came on. He got Ellsbury and Sanchez in the 4th. Gave up the base hit to McCann against the shift. That was a ground ball, actually. Went for a single. Then he got Teixeira. A couple of ground ball outs in the 5th. Williams dropped a base hit into center and a ground ball out of Solano to end that. Fly ball and a pop up here in the 6th. And now he faces Sanchez and he looks at a strike. Oh-2.
Yeah, and showing, I mean, a nifty curveball. I'll tell you, he's been spinning that very well here tonight, locating the fastball.
And there's one turned around. Fastball to deep to left and out of here. An 0-2 fastball. Sanchez hits his 2nd home run of the night. Gives him 19 home runs.
Well, just as you get locates the fastball out of my mouth. He misses location in the 0-2 count, and Gary Sanchez, we talked about it, well, we've been talking about it all series long, is that you miss your spot against him right now, he is destroying those pitches. I mean, he's just a guy that he gets his pitch, you miss location, and you'd like to say you're backing up bases or asking for a new ball. You're asking for a new ball.
Now McCann up here following the home run. It's an 8-4 ball game now. This one over the mound, headed toward the middle and into center field. Ramirez was on the first base side of second and could not get back to it. So McCann 4 for 4.
Well, here it is, a 2-strike heater from Marks right there, just above the belt, out over the plate, wanted that pitch in.
Well, we've had 6 home runs hit in this game. 2 by Sanchez and 4 by the Rays. All of those came in the 3rd inning. Teixeira takes the first pitch for a ball. Two and 0. Dana Evelyn starts to loosen in the bullpen. And the count goes to 3-0. A 5 RBI night for Gary Sanchez. And there's ball 4, a walk on 4 pitches. So after the home run, a single and a walk. 2 men on with 2 men out. And Jim Hickey heads to the mound. Well, we talked about Willie McCovey's 1959 season Rookie of the Year. When he didn't come up until the 30th of July, played in 52 games. He had 38 runs batted in and 13 home runs. Sanchez now has 38 runs driven in and 19 home runs. So he's just forcing his way into that Rookie of the Year consideration, even though he was a late arrival here.
But he has caused such a stir. I mean, you know, on a big stage too. You roll into New York when everybody thinks that season for the Yankees is over, and they've made this run that I don't think anybody expected. He led the charge and has showed no signs of slowing down. I mean, that's now 8 home runs in his last 12 games, and that was after a stretch where he was homerless in 10 straight and had really come back down to earth because of pitchers making adjustments.
Yeah, he was up for a couple of days in May and then rejoined the team on August the 3rd. So this damage
The trade deadline.
Yeah. A high fly by Gregorius. Decker looking for it, now finds it and makes the catch to retire the side. They pick up a run on the home run by Sanchez, and we head into the bottom of the 6th. It's 8-4 New York. Home schedule against the Red Sox Sunday, and the youngsters can take a Rays mascot home when all kids 14 and under receive their very own DJ Kitty toothbrush holder, presented by United Concordia Dental while supplies last. Call 888-FAN-RAYS. First pitch to Corey Dickerson. Bottom of the 6th inning underway with a strike call. Dickerson homered in the 3rd, the 4th home run of the inning for the Rays. Masahiro Tanaka giving up 4 home runs for the first time in his career with the Yankees. 4 home runs in 1 inning, as it turns out. Dickerson, Ramirez, and Decker due up. Two and one. Popper back at 3rd. Gardner coming in. That's going to fall for a base hit. Dickerson's going to dig for 2, and he'll arrive ahead of the throw. Leadoff double for Corey Dickerson. So there's a man in scoring position to begin the inning.
Well, you're trying to answer the Yankees, get that run back and then some, and this is a great start. Don't always have to hit it hard and drive it. All down and away and just well placed. And always hustling out of the box. Corey Dickerson, another one of those guys that's always busting it. A good read right there and gets into second.
Alexi Ramirez. And he did go after that one, says Dan Iasogna. How about that? There's Dickerson's bat.
Not expecting the crack there.
Not at all. Boy, that's unusual.
Yeah. Well, they're still being studied.
We'll get back to you on that. And Ramirez quickly behind in the count, 0-2. Eight runs, 13 hits for New York, 4 runs, 7 hits for the Rays. And strike 3 call, caught the outside corner. First out of the 6th inning. And the 4th strikeout of the night for Tanaka.
See the way that came back just a little bit. That's just a perfectly placed, perfectly executed fastball there by Tanaka to get that 4th K.
Jeff Decker has walked and grounded out. Fouls the fastball back for a strike. The start of the day, Boston leading the American League East by 4 games over Toronto and 5 over Baltimore. Yankees 8.5 back in the East. One on, one out. Baltimore's home against Boston tonight. Boston hitting in the top of the 6th, trailing 1-0. Strike, and it's 0-2 on Decker. Blue Jays lost their game in Seattle 2-1, a 12-inning game. Decker stays alive with that little tap. Seattle trying to stay alive in the wild card race. Technically, the Yankees 3.5 back in that one. Again, the 2-strike pitch on its way from Tanaka. Instead, a move back to second, ball popping away, but not far enough to give Dickerson an opportunity to advance. Solano there to make the pickup. Both bullpens busy. Adam Warren had been up for the Yankees. The 0-2 is low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. There's Warren. And the pitch count at 93. And Dana Evelyn, the lefty, continues to loosen up the right field line for the Rays. Decker fouls it again. You know, the Rays picked themselves up off the floor, being down 7-0, made it 7-4. The Yankees added a run on the Sanchez home run, his second of the night. And now with a leadoff double and 1 out, Decker has fouled off a couple of pitches here, staying alive against Tanaka.
Battle, and you certainly want to answer the Yankees, get this run back. Obviously look for more, starting to get late. Tanaka's, after that rough 3rd inning, has settled in somewhat.
And a no-go right there. 2-2.
Strong forearms. I bet you he gets involved in keg tossing.
Oh, no question. 2-2, and there's a chopper left side. Gregorius bobbles, throw to first, still got him close over there at first. A move to third by Dickerson. And after the bobble that made it close, Decker called out by Lance Barrett at first base.
Now this gives him a chance right here. That ball in, doesn't come out clean.
There's another look.
Oh, that close.
Richie Schaefer. Strike 1. Tanaka twice has struck him out tonight, and pretty much the same way he started him this time. And it's 0-2. Cut and a miss. So Tanaka dominating Schaefer tonight. Rays leave a man at third. We go to the 7th, 8-4 New York. Rays baseball on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by your Southern Chevy dealers. Series against New York continues. We move into the 7th inning, middle game of this series. Dana Evelyn will be the 4th pitcher employed tonight by the Rays. An inning and a third by Alex Cobb, an inning and 2/3 for Steve Geltz. Justin Marks 3 innings, and now Evelyn. 30th appearance for Evelyn, 0-1 with an 8.86 ERA. And Ronald Torreyes leads off against him. Ground ball headed toward the middle. Nice pickup. Ramirez the throw and a good scoop at first by Miller, and they get Torreyes.
Defensively, they've started pinching and being able to get some of these ground balls that were finding holes early in the game as the Yankees built their lead. And that is a tremendous play by Alexi Ramirez. Got to get to it first, and then a quick spin and what's going to have to be a strong throw. And how about a little help from your first baseman?
Yeah, and we're seeing that more and more now by Miller at first base. Dana Evelyn appreciating both ends of that play. There's Mason Williams. And the pitch is a strike.
Well, it's about getting reps over there, Dwayne. And Brad Miller, every time he gets an opportunity, footwork. How about the fancy footwork earlier in the game on the throw by Cobb?
Yep.
You know, around the bag. But those are things that when you make this move, you have a built-in feeling that, listen, he played shortstop. It's an athletic position. So you're putting an athlete over there at first base and hoping that he can manage the nuances of the position. And we've seen him get better and better the more he's over there.
It's 1-2. Hey, there's another pretty good shortstop who made that transition years ago. Ernie Banks came up, played shortstop for the Cubs, and eventually moved to first base. This one is down. In fact, I think, and I'd have to check this, it was at least within a day when the Cubs clinched their division the other day.
Yep.
It may have been on the anniversary of Ernie Banks' debut in a Cubs uniform. Close. And Williams is out on strikes. So 2 outs in the top of the 7th inning. We haven't heard from Todd recently. Todd, what have you got?
Well, we haven't, and here's the latest. We have a question for you, but first a report on Steven Souza Jr.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. In Nashville today, he undergoes successful surgery, and the medical term is to debride an impingement in his left hip, and he should be ready for spring training, guys. A little tear in the left hip that's repaired, and the question is from Tyler, even though he's not on the active team anymore, will the verb still be used to Souza, guys?
Fly ball into right center field. One hop to the wall. Solano has himself a double. So a base runner in scoring position with 2 outs after Torreyes and Williams had been retired. I think it'll always be a verb. I think he's pretty much established that.
Oh, it's in.
Yep.
It's in the Urban Dictionary. There's no question about it. And it needs to live on. You need constant reminders because he gave us plenty.
And it was good news apparently coming out of the procedure today in Nashville. They've taken care of that.
Yep.
Just wondering if the operating room was okay. If he ran into the wall or anything.
No,
like
he'll
that.
try to get out of bed too soon and stumble into something. Maybe throw a forearm.
Here's Gardner. So we wish him the best, and we can't wait. Well, you know, we'll take a few days in the offseason, but can't wait to see him again in the spring.
Yeah.
He's really turned out to be one of our favorite guys.
Listen, he's going to do something, I don't want to say every night, but close to every night, that that it makes its mark. That's all I'll say.
Yep.
It makes its mark, whether it's, you know, a ball in the stands and he goes targeting on someone, running into the wall for no apparent reason whatsoever. I mean, think about, you know, with what he's dealing with and the surgery that he had to have. What about that catch that he made? Where was that on the road trip? Was that Toronto? Right center field?
Yeah, that'll work.
Right.
Toronto.
Yeah. I mean, the wall almost knocked him out. And he's got the bad hip, and that's still the way that he chooses to play.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing to me.
was.
Even with that hip situation needing some attention, he was still full bore.
And then watching him, when we get to the ballpark, watching him do some of his early work, that's always a treat.
Yeah. That's a strike, and it's 2-2. Yeah, the goggles and all that. Let's take a look at Souza Jr. there making that catch.
That's with the bad hip already.
Yeah. I mean, there's a case where he's got the bad hip, and he Souza's himself.
Which is not easy to do.
No. But he will challenge the wall or the stands. Go flying into the stands. Two now to Gardner. Close. A little wide there, and the count is full.
Look at that, sweep that breaking ball, how much ground it covers. You don't swing at it because you can't hit it.
Into left, Dickerson playing in, cuts to his left and makes the catch. A double and a man left, 7th inning stretch time at the ballpark. 8-4 New York. Tonight's Geico great moment. Let's go back to the 3rd inning for that. 4 home runs in that 3rd. Bobby Wilson started it. 2 outs later, Evan Longoria, then Brad Miller, followed by Corey Dickerson. The Rays homered themselves right back into this game after trailing 7-0. It's now 8-4. They'll be facing Adam Warren, the right-hander.
Well, they're starting in a familiar spot. Down here, Bobby Wilson was the guy that got it all started.
He's 2 for 2 tonight. Goes for the first one. Tops it down to 3rd, and the throw made by Torreyes to retire Bobby. First out in the 7th. 6 innings for Tanaka. The Rays got him for 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 home runs, a wild pitch. Here's Logan Forsythe, the top of the order. Strike the count. Ground ball short. 2 gone. Gregorius to Teixeira. Rays have the best deals in town when the Red Sox come for the final home series of the season starting Friday. Get a pair of upper level tickets for just $21 and enjoy 20-ounce Budweiser and Bud Light drafts for just $5 that night only. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Rays up. Kevin Kiermaier takes a strike. Two. Ball, 2 strikes. The Rays saw 5 New York pitchers last night. Warren not one of them, but Tommy Lane, who's up in the bullpen now, was one of them. 2-2. Eddie Romero has been busy in the Rays bullpen. Now 3-2. Warren in relief of Tanaka. Again, 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, a couple of walks, 5 strikeouts, a wild pitch. 4 homers and 99 pitches thrown by Tanaka tonight. Out of play, and we'll see another 3-2 pitch.
Well, you got to kind of tip your hat to Tanaka recovering from that disastrous third inning. We gave him the 4 home runs. Allowed the Rays to get right back in this game, but able to hold them scoreless for the next few.
Ground ball right side. They have the shift on, and Kiermaier's thrown out. So the Rays go down in order. 3 ground balls in the 7th. 8-4 New York. On to the 8th we go. It's 8-4 New York. Yankees grabbed a big lead early, 3 in the first and 4 in the second inning. Rays hit 4 home runs in the third. And we go to the 8th with Jacoby Ellsbury leading off against Inny Romero. His first pitch of the night is a fastball in at 94 and upstairs 1-0. '50th appearance for Romero. Alex Cobb started, worked an inning and a third. Quicken Loan's rocket arms. Rays bullpen tonight, allowing just 1 run since. 2-1. Gilt's an inning and 2/3. Marks 3, Evelyn 1, and now Romero.
Let's go Rays!
Takes the count to 2-2. Speaking of rocket arms, Romero has one. It's a matter of command for him.
Always will be. That's what we're talking about right there. You know, you're looking to make a pitch 2-2, and you're that far off the plate. And if he can learn to command that zone, expand a little here or there to get a chase, he could be devastating. That's it. That's the one. That ball's a strike all the way to the point that Ellsbury's got to make a decision to swing. And as he starts to swing, that slider sweeps right off the plate. This is how you do it.
Well, here's Gary Sanchez. 2 home runs tonight, 5 runs batted in. He never hit more than 18 home runs in the minor leagues. Well, he has 19 home runs. Fastest player in Major League history to reach 19 home runs, 45 games, Gary Sanchez.
Good eye.
Single homer run in the first tonight, hit a 3-run homer in the second, and a solo home run in the 6th. Checks in time. 2 balls and a strike. Three and 1 to count. Big cut and a miss. 3-2. You know, you think of the players who got off to great starts in a short period of time in terms of hitters. Sanchez, Frank Thomas started his career this way for the White Sox. He got off to a great start, a little more than a handful of games, but still not a full season by any stretch. But his numbers are starting to reflect close to a full season. 3-run homer in the second, home run in the 6th, and now he walks in the 8th. 4th time he's been on tonight. Frank Thomas in his first 60 games with the White Sox hit .330 with 7 homers and 31 runs batted in. Big swing and a miss by McCann. And 4 for 4 tonight. Their 3 and 4 hitters have had to this point 9 plate appearances, and they've been on 8 times.
Yikes. Yikes.
And they've driven in 6 of the 8 runs. That's some production from your 3 and 4 spots.
The traditional production spots.
Yep.
And they're owning the night.
there's strike 3 call. McCann finally retired. Second strikeout of the inning for Enny Romero.
He just buries this fastball. There's nothing fancy about that. Good velocity, a good location, and McCann just cannot pull the trigger.
And a strike to Mark Teixeira. So Erasmo Ramirez up in the bullpen. One and one. It's fouled back, 1 and 2. Foul right back, holding the count at a ball, 2 strikes. Up and away. It's 2 and 2. Deck, Didi Gregorius, and that is a strike call to Teixeira. Out to end the inning. 3 strikeouts and a walk. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 8-4 New York.
It's 8-4, bottom half of the 8th inning. Guy in the striped shirt right there is the official scorer for Rays baseball, Bill Matthews. Tomorrow, guys, will be a very special show here on our Rays telecast, as we're going to teach people how to keep score. There's Billy right there keeping score of tonight's game. That is the official book, and then he transfers that over to the sheet that goes to all the MLB stats around the league. And Bill Matthews, the official scorer here at Tropicana Field, with his scorekeeping. We'll talk about how Dwayne keeps score, how I keep score, BA. It's going to be a full day to teach people how to keep score at a baseball game. Guys, back to you.
Well, how about that? We're going to have to brush up, I guess.
No, wait a minute. Wait, let's slow down here. First of all, your book is immaculate. I can already tell you how I keep score, and it's poorly. Okay? I do my job up here. Occasionally I get most of the innings correct. I don't total anything, but I could go back and count.
Sure.
Occasionally I'll I'll know how many runners were left on base. It's very JV, very JV.
1-2 the count to Evan Longoria.
And I will tell you one thing.
Yes, sir.
For all the fans out there that are with us each and every night,
we're grateful.
We are. You can't even believe.
Swing
Keeps
and
us
a
coming
miss.
back. But here's the deal. When you hear Dwayne recap an inning in the middle of an inning, it's because I've wandered off somewhere and I have no idea what's happened in the inning. And I'll start to look over Dwayne's shoulder to see how the inning is gone. And Dwayne will pick up on that cue, and he'll recap the inning in a very professional way to where you have no idea at home what he's doing, and he's not really recapping it so much for you at home. He's recapping it for me because I haven't written anything down.
Hey.
And it's a great help, and it helps everybody. It's people helping people.
It's a partnership.
Yeah.
Yep.
And while you're assisting me, you're also recapping for the viewer at home, but you're doing it because you know that I've completely butchered my book. Am I right?
A lot of recaps.
There are a lot of recaps.
Let's go on.
1 strike to count. There's a liner up the right side. That's foul just beyond the bullpen. Erasmo Ramirez is loosening. Go to. So scorekeeping tomorrow.
Yeah, I won't
scoring
offer
the
much.
game.
I won't offer much, but it is interesting.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that tomorrow. It'll be kind of fun.
Because you are a traditionalist, you're a perfectionist, and you need to have it right. I mean, you need to have it right.
It sounds like a personality evaluation.
Well, I've watched it. I mean, pitch counts per inning.
I already talked
Boom.
to Tom about getting me a
I try to rely more on, I remember that happened, and we'll go with that. If I went back to try to check, no.
Well,
It's not happening.
See, and it just all works out.
Kind of does.
Yeah, it's good.
Go with it.
1-2 the count here on Brad Miller.
You said that's tomorrow night?
That's what I just heard.
Todd?
Yeah.
I probably can set that one out.
No, we'll have your input. That'd be important.
Please don't.
Breaking ball. Missed. Longoria struck out. Brad Miller up here with Corey Dickerson on deck.
Notice me peeking?
Hot shot. Deep into center.
What did I say?
Ellsbury looking up. Gone. Home run. Brad Miller. Miller's second home run of the night and his 30th of the year. And it's 8-5.
Well, he brings them back closer here in the bottom of the 8th, and he got it, Dwayne. You know, this is something that we were talking about a few weeks back, was Brad Miller had a shot at 30 and then could go on from there, and he just did it, ironically enough, to left center field. As hard as he hits the ball, toughest place to go, left-handed hitter. It gets deep out there, opposite field, a breaking ball, a hanger, and it gets crushed.
So the Rays have hit their 5th home run of the game. The second home run struck by Miller. And that's it for Adam Warren. Pitching change coming. Back in a moment. 3-run ball game again, and the Yankees bring on their third pitcher, lefty Tommy Lane, who throws a slider for a strike to Corey Dickerson. Brad Miller has just hit a home run, his second of the night. 5 runs tonight for the Rays, 8 hits. 5 of those hits have been home runs.
The solo home run.
Rays have 210 home runs on the year. That's out of play. 1-2. Four of those home runs came in the 3rd inning. Dickerson hit the 4th. Wilson, Longoria, Miller, and Dickerson all hit home runs in that inning. Two and two. Third time the Rays have had 2 hitters hit 30 or more home runs in a single season. 99, Jose Canseco and Freddie McGriff did that as teammates. In 09, Longoria and Carlos Pena. The shot to center field. Ellsbury is there to make the catch for the second out. So 09, Evan Longoria and Carlos Pena. And now this has been Longoria and Miller getting together. Teammates with at least 30 home runs. Joe Girardi's going to make another pitching change. We'll be back in a moment. Baseball on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts Glory Ram, by Lazy Days RV, your RV authority, and by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Tyler Clippard, the new pitcher for the New York Yankees, following Tommy Lane. Clippard on to face the right-handed bat of Alexi Ramirez. Ramirez 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Goes after the first pitch and skies it foul. Out of play. Strike 1. Tough start for Alex Cobb tonight. An inning and a third, 7 runs. Rays got down 7-0, made it 7-4. Now it's 8-5 as Clippard is on here. 1-1. Tanaka, Warren, Lane, and Clippard for New York. Cobb, Geltz, Marks, Evelyn, and Romero for the Rays. Swing and a miss. And it's 1-2. The Tapper foul. Bottom of the 8th here.
You know, Tyler Clippard was a pickup by the Yankees in the midst of the sell-off. You know, Miller, Chapman, Nova, Beltran. Quietly, they go get Tyler Clippard with that belief that, you know, it doesn't look good. It looks like we're selling off and not going to compete. But you bring in a guy like Tyler Clippard to help the back end of that bullpen. You got Adam Warren back in one of the trades. And those are the guys that really help combine to get the game to Betances and allow this run to continue.
Fly ball back into left. Gardner's going to have plenty of room to make the catch. Rays get a run in the 8th on the second home run of the night, hit by Brad Miller to give him 30 on the year. We're headed into the 9th. It's 8-5 New York. Brad Miller had hit 29 home runs for his major league career. Well, he's hit 2 tonight, and he has 30 this year. Coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. Todd DeRestis will anchor the coverage. We'll hear from Kevin Cash and interviews from the clubhouse. And on to the 9th we go. Erasmo Ramirez on the hill. Pitcher number 6 for the Rays, making his 60th appearance. First pitch is a ball. Didi Gregorius 0 for 3. Drove in a run with a sacrifice fly to left field back in the 2nd inning. It's down 2-0. Betances up in the bullpen. 3-run game, 8-5. And a foul ball, and that did not feel good.
No, and I mean, that ball right off. It looked like right off the foot, and Gregorius went down in a heap. Got the padding there, and right off the toe, misses the padding.
Boy, it will find the toe.
I mean, look at, he's got everything covered but the toe. And that's exactly where he hammered that ball, directly down and on. That little bit of exposure.
Yep, Steve Donahue, the trainer, wanted to make sure, hung around a couple of extra beats to Be assured by Gregorius that he's all right. It's a 2-1 count. Now 3-1. Torreyes due next, and then Williams. Now the starting pitchers still the pitchers of record in this game. Ground ball right side, grabbed there by Forsythe. The throw to first not going to be in time with Ramirez covering, and it's a base hit. So Gregorius, who fouled that ball off his toe just a couple pitches ago, you get a chance to leg out a hit, and he's getting down the line.
Yep, and right here, split the defense. So Forsythe gets it, and Ramirez has to cover, but too much speed by Gregorius. Nice stop by Logan, but what are you going to do?
It's 15 hits for New York. Here is Torreyes, Ronald Torreyes. He drove in a run with a base hit in the first. Fouls it the other way down the right side. Strike one. As we mentioned, the starting pitchers still the pitchers of record here, which means that if the Yankees hang on and win this, Tanaka will have given up 4 home runs and still picked up a victory. And that doesn't happen very often, that a starting pitcher allows 4 home runs and picks up the win. And Rick Odioso, who is just top drawer as statisticians go, did a little extra research and informs us that there have been pitchers who have given up more than 4 home runs. In fact, 3 pitchers have given up as many as 6 home runs and still won a game. 6 home runs and win.
That's, I mean, you talk about pitching on the right night.
Yeah. Wow. The most recent would be Tim Wakefield in 2004, Boston against Detroit. You have to go all the way back to the 30s to get the other 2. Larry Benton in 1930, the New York Giants against the Cubs, and in 1932 in that matchup between Brooklyn and the New York Giants, Sloppy Thurston, I know one of your favorite pitchers, gave up 6 home runs and still won that game. And that was near the end of his career. I think he was finished by 33 or maybe 34, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Came
Sloppy
up,
Thurston.
Yep, Sloppy Thurston, screwball pitcher.
Oh, they had that back then.
Yeah, there you go. Came up with the Browns. Runner goes, pitch hit on the ground to third, no play at second. So Longoria takes it to first. Torreyes is out there. Hollis Thurston, better known as Sloppy Thurston.
Picking up a win with a sloppy outing.
There you go. I like the way you can tie all that together.
Well, I was trying to tie in the sloppy part with the fact that he came up with the Browns. The other Browns.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The St. Louis Browns.
Right.
1923.
Yeah.
And then in the 50s, they turned out to be the Baltimore Orioles. Pitch to Mason Williams is outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Kenny Romero worked the 8th, struck out the side, walked a man in the process. And Erasmo Ramirez falling behind Mason Williams. 2-0 with a man at second and 1 out. And a base hit up the middle will get the run home. Gregorius heads to the plate. Williams drives in the run, and it's a 4-run game again, 9-5.
Well, this hit by Mason Williams right here goes right back up the middle, goes down and gets that pitch. Gregorius off and running, and what that has accomplished is Dylan Betances going to sit down. Now the Yankees with the 4-run lead.
Well, here is Donovan Solano. And a shot deep to left. That one is out of here. No question about that. 2-run home run for Solano. And it's a 3-run ninth. Came on the first pitch, a shot to left. And just like that, the Yankees have built an 11-5 lead. Well, that got out of here in a hurry. "17 New York hits, 11 runs." Pitch down around the feet of Brett Gardner. The bat explodes there on that foul ball. The count is 1-1. So Gardner will get a new bat. Our crew hard at work to make sure that we are completely informed that Larry Benton, who gave up 6 home runs and still won a game.
Yeah.
That would have been in 1930. Well, apparently 4 of those home runs of his 6 came in the 7th inning. And so there's the distinct possibility that other than tonight, he might be the only pitcher to give up 4 home runs in an inning and get a win.
Look at that.
Oh, look at that thing splinter. Chopper foul. Well, a couple of base hits and a home run, a ground ball in the mix for the out. Holder and Parker up in the bullpen now. It's a 6-run lead. Ground ball. Forsythe with the pickup and the throw to first to get Gardner. Gardner out number 2. He's 2 for 6, and now it's Jacoby Ellsbury. Well, the Yankees did their damage early and some more late. A 3-run first, a 4-run second. Only run in the 6th inning came on the Sanchez home run, and now 3 more in the 9th. Ellsbury on the ground foul down in front of Tony Pena.
Well, for a time it looked promising.
It certainly did.
Got back in the game with plenty of baseball left. I mean, that was the 3rd inning. It was 7-4. Ray's bullpen was doing the job, throwing up some zeros, giving the offense a chance. But Tanaka, kind of got back in rhythm, held the Rays scoreless for a few innings, and Yankee offense obviously starts to tack on here at the end.
Fly ball into left. Dickerson waiting for this one, makes the catch. A 3-run ninth inning. We go to the bottom of the ninth. 11-5 New York. Eight home runs in this game, 11-5 the score. New York leading as we go to the bottom of the ninth inning. Rays have to this point won the home run derby 5-3, but they trail 11-5 on the scoreboard as Jonathan Holder makes his 5th appearance now with the widened lead. So we have the Holder-Decker matchup here. Jeff Decker. Ball, no strikes. Schaefer due next, and then Wilson. One and one. Decker with a couple of ground ball outs. He drew a walk his first time up. And it's 1-2. Pitch is high. 2-2. Richie Schaefer on deck. Out of play. So the count remains 2-2. Holder, the 5th New York pitcher. And he throws that one by Decker. Fastball in the mid-90s. That's the first out.
Number 36, designated hitter, Richie Schaefer.
Holder out of the 2014 draft. And Schaefer fouls one back. No one gone, base is empty as Schaefer steps back in. Nick Franklin on deck. And a cut and a miss, breaking ball. And I think the backswing got Sanchez. And that brings Steve Donahue out, the Yankee trainer.
Let's take a look and see exactly. Oh, just clipped him on that left elbow. Oh boy. It's not big, subtle, right there. I want to get back to Nick Franklin on deck.
Yeah, how about that?
I thought that he was at least down for a few more.
Yep. But there were reports that he might be available, and here he is on deck. So apparently Sanchez all right.
Yeah, we're talking about you. Yes. Oh, right. Yep. Go get him.
Ground ball by the mound out to second. And Schaefer grounds out. So 2 gone. And the pinch a penny. Pinch hitter is Nick Franklin. Hitting for Bobby Wilson.
I've missed his walk-up song. It's nice to have him back just for that.
You like his walk-up song?
I do. It's grown on me.
What is it?
It's just it's a catchy little tune.
Oh, good. Walk the Moon.
Sure.
There you go.
I'm not sure what it is. I like the little clip that they play.
Okay.
And then when you get to know Nick a little bit, it fits.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Kind of urges you to dance a little bit.
Just shut up and do it.
Strike out of the ground out. Base is empty. 2-0 the count to Nick Franklin. He had the hamstring strain, and now his first appearance since then. This one off the mitt of Sanchez. And it's 3-0.
Tell this guy Jorge wouldn't have complained.
Rays saw Holder for 2 innings in New York back on the 8th. That's a strike. 3-1. Gave up a couple of hits and a run in relief of Sabathia. And that run was a home run by Steven Souza Jr. Now we go to 3-2 here to Nick Franklin. And it's fouled back, forcing at least another pitch here. Well, the Yankees grabbed the first game of the series last night 5-3, and they jumped on Alex Cobb early tonight, and they lead 11-5 in the bottom of the 9th inning. Another foul right back out of play. So at least one more souvenir. Popped up left side. Torreyes after this one makes the catch, and this game is over. 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the ninth. Go the Rays. For the Yankees tonight, 11.